Yeah, so when you think about the moves that the two of them have, okay, like technically they've broken the uptrends that have been in place for most of this year. I think that's important in a market where people don't really care much about valuation. When you think about how far Microsoft and Apple have come, they make up nearly 14% of the S&P 500, the two of the stocks. Together, if you look at the reports that they had, they were fine. There was nothing great. There was nothing horrible one way or another. But they sold off really hard. And I think that is important to note in the fact that it happened very quickly. So if you were to have some of these other names kind of join the party, that would certainly be a problem. But you talk about the rotations that we've seen, and it has been pretty good. If you think about the S&P at its lows on Friday morning, it was only down 3% from those highs, with two of the biggest components that were down 10%, really in a straight line coming off of news a few weeks ago. So to me, I think you could look at it, if you wanted to try to be really bearish in a slow market, we've just gotten through earnings, we know we don't have another Fed meeting until there, you could say if we do see some things start to snowball a little bit, some of these other names join the party, if we were to see Amazon, if we were to see Google, which gapped up 10%, that's to fill in their gaps, we could have a bit of a problem. Right now, I think it's okay.
We will see the other sectors which rallied today continue their rally, the broadening out of the market, industrials, financials, consumer discretionary, which are all strong. We see them continue to rally. The markets can hold up, can't they?
Can I ask you to ask a would you rather of Guy?
Oh, wait, I follow the rules. Would you rather?
Well, I'm not. But I think it would be interesting to ask someone, would you rather the market actually follow higher the mega cap tech stocks, or would you let them sell off and see the rest of the market brought? I don't know, try that, Guy. What do you think?
So you're asking her to ask me?
Sorry.
I'm confused already.
You know what? I was doing great until that last part.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out.
You are out. Guy.
I understand what he meant, though, oddly enough.
Yeah.
If you had told me on July 20th that by August 7th, both Microsoft and Apple would be both down 10% from the all-time high, then said, okay, Guy, where's the S&P 500? I would say, Melissa, we are no doubt trading down to that level, 43 and a quarter, where we topped out at last August, and we're probably threatening to go through it. Yet here we are at 45.20. So I guess it's a good thing to sort of answer Tim's question. I think it's a matter of time before the broader market catches up to what these mega cap stocks are doing. But today, anecdotally, outstanding.
Do you think so, Karen?
I agree. I mean, I think I would have thought the market lower, but I think this is much better action. I think that to see other companies, other sectors sort of join the party. I mean, there were some like travel, which is pulled back a little bit. We're just going crazy. And then love to see that in banks, love to see that in industrials. Consumer discretionary, I think, is still unclear because we do have the student loans beginning to be repaid next month. And so that's a little less clear to me, but I feel much more comfortable with a market like this. I still am short the IGV, which was up today, because I do think that high flyer index should have some pressure on it with rates having moved the way they have.
Tim, question for you.
Can I get back in? Yeah, can I get back in?
So think about this. We just talked about the two big ones, okay, but think about semis, okay? What we heard from AMD, what we heard from Taiwan Semi, what we heard from Texan, what we heard from Qualcomm, I mean, the list goes on and on, wasn't particularly great. My question to you, and I know you focus a lot on the relative strength of this index, when we get to NVIDIA in a few weeks on August 23rd, I really feel like it has the potential to have the sort of reaction that Microsoft and Apple, because really just good is not going to be good enough.
So I need to apologize first, because I have obviously taken this desk off the rails, and the irreverence that's going on here now was
unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. So let me answer Dan's question, and then can we give the show back to Melissa, please?
Sorry.
Look, as I've said, we haven't made new relative highs on semis since NVIDIA reported. And the Qs as well. And if you look at Apple's chart, it hasn't broken through to the downside, the 100-day moving average, since September of 2022. And we all know where it all went. And on some level, these big stocks, and Apple notably, there's a reflexivity to all of this, and there's a circular nature. I mean, can they pull down the other stocks if it's aggressive enough of a sell-off? And I would argue that Apple is discretionary spending. It's not a tech company, and it's their third straight quarter. They pulled a lot forward. I think it doesn't bode well for discretionary, but I think right now the broader economy is in a pretty decent place. So I actually don't think it's a lot to be alarmed of. The velocity of the move, I mean, it's pretty major stuff that we've seen, but seeing rotation that aggressively means a lot of people have been offsides the broader economy and need to get there in a hurry.
To pull a page from Karen's playbook, though, I mean, some would argue that those valuations, like, for instance, in Apple, should never have gone to 30.
Right.
So this pullback is natural, and it's totally within the range of normal behavior for the stock, because it should not have been at 30 to begin with on a forward PE basis anyway.
Right. Same with Microsoft. We all thought Microsoft, great company, deserves a premium. Does it deserve that premium? Probably not. And so the quarter was very good. but not quite good enough. And Apple, the quarter had some, little nicks and whatever. But to me, NVIDIA will be really important. As Dan said, August 23rd. I think if it is anywhere close, if it is $11 billion, that's bad. $11 billion is
so
not
they have to beat,
enough.
In other words,
they have to beat.
Forecast.
They have to beat.
Which they wouldn't have said if they didn't think they could
I
really
always
beat
thought,
it.
Exactly. They had to be sandbagging. So if they don't beat, unless they have something like, we have such a giant book, we're not able to fulfill, and we'll be doing that. But I think $11 billion will not hold this stock here.